to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Oh man, it's been a little while.
A little bit.
It's like I know. Oh gosh, I hope that didn't. Okay, I'm not gonna fall. I'll be okay.
Glad you maintained your balance there.
Yeah, I've had this chair for a while, and I think it's starting to like. I don't know. I might have to go back to using one of these stiff ass chairs.
I don't know. The more you lean back in the chair, the better it'll get. Just for one day during the podcast, you just like
just completely spill.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm like, that just goes to show you how tired I am.
Mm-hmm.
And just speaking of tired, like, this is why I want to start with this. Social media anymore. Like, I know we have our Twitter.
Yes, we do.
You should still follow that, despite Elon being Elon. I post episodes, like to my Instagram story. We share them across Twitter. Obviously, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where you find us.
Yes.
But now it's like, it's so weird how everything is just a complete blur over the last week with social media. Because Threads is a thing.
Yeah, I'm
now,
not saying. I refuse to do Threads. Threads is not going to catch on. And apparently, if you do Threads, you can't delete it, or else you delete your Instagram.
Okay, Mark, that's weird. So, all right. Threads itself is this weird, like, Twitter alternative that Zuck started.
Yeah.
As a response to just Elon being Elon, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Unhinged to all hell. It's funny to me because, like, did you see Phil DeFranco's tweet about it? Phil
Absolutely not.
DeFranco was like, it's kind of funny when you look at Mark and go, maybe he's the one that's right. Yeah,
like I was talking about this with my buddy. Like, it is hilarious how bad it's gotten with Elon for a lot of people, to where they're somehow almost making Mark Zuckerberg out to be like a sympathetic figure,
a good dude. Like that, it's like
let's not go that far. Let's not have the memory of a goldfish on this one. All right, like,
because Elon, okay, when Elon bought Twitter, right? I thought Twitter Blue was just gonna be this like little tiny perk thing, right?
Yeah.
And Twitter was just gonna stay Twitter, right? But now there's all this API stuff, and he's trying his damnedest to get everyone to pay for Twitter.
Well, yeah, so he stops hemorrhaging money.
The funny thing, like, Elon is the Arizona Coyotes. Because this whole thing started because he wouldn't pay a bill. He wouldn't pay one bill on time. Yeah.
One Bill Armstrong.
So, like, Threads is a thing, and I'm probably going to be posting episodes to Threads too, I guess. If you don't want to join Threads, I don't blame you. And if you want to catch it on, obviously just subscribe here, follow the Twitter. We're still going to be sharing stuff
This
to
is
the Twitter.
The one thing, like, we can all agree on. It doesn't matter who you are or what your beliefs are. The one thing that I think everybody can universally agree with is that YouTube is fucking great.
Yes,
YouTube's not going anywhere.
Google makes money.
Yeah. So
Google actually is profitable. It's like
you want to watch us? This is the most convenient place to do it. This is the best place to do it because YouTube is great.
people put podcast videos on in the background anyway, so it's like
Oh, I do that. I do that all
like
the time.
you
I
can catch
literally
us
play-
wherever you can catch us with audio stuff, but like still, people just put on a podcast on YouTube or live stream and just set their phone aside.
Yeah, dude. Like that's literally what I do. Like my setup. Like as I'm sitting here right now, this is how I sit while I'm playing video games and listening to podcasts,
Yeah,
watching a TV show on my laptop. Like it's great.
it's convenient, and the whole thing with Threads versus Twitter is funny to me because it feels like a third grade schoolyard fight between billionaires.
It is.
Like that's exactly how
And it's
petty
like
this shit is.
the two most unpopular kids at the school too.
Yeah. I want to know if like Bezos wants to try to jump in on this somehow.
Honestly, if I were him, I would
Because
get involved somehow.
Because who knows, man? It's really like when it comes to the social media platforms, you have the Gong Show that's both the Meta stuff and Elon's Twitter, right? You have people that still, for whatever reason, use Snapchat, like regularly for their audience. There's the whole Reddit going through its thing is ridiculous.
What's Reddit going through?
A lot of like boycotty stuff, and I think their CEO said something about changing protections for certain communities, and that's not. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not like I just scroll Reddit anyway. I never post anything. I like
really
make a
do much
rare.
on Reddit. I'll look at Survivor Reddit, and that's about it.
I make a rare comment here and there on stuff or whatever, but like YouTube, yeah, YouTube is my main source of social media entertainment because I use it for this. I have creators that I follow on there that I love.
Be like my most used app ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's for me, it's YouTube and Discord, right? And Spotify. And then one thing that I'm surprised because because I caved, TikTok.
I go on TikTok like once a month.
Once a month. Yeah. It's funny because like I caved finally to join TikTok because of a couple of YouTube creators that I saw that I've been getting into their stuff, and I was just like, I wonder what their TikTok looks like just in terms of the short form versions of this stuff. And if there's other things that they talk about on TikTok that they don't necessarily address yet. Right? Because Steve and SDPN, they just kind of take little clips from the shows and put them up on TikTok for, short form, easy. Because TikTok is absolutely the goldfish memory app, isn't it?
Yes.
Like I didn't even know you could make 3-minute stuff until I signed up for it. And that's as long as you can go, I think.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't care enough about TikTok to know. The only reason I got it is so viewing videos that people send to me is like easier.
Is a little bit easier. Yeah, exactly. That's partially why I did it too.
Literally the only time I use the app is when someone sends me a TikTok.
And I mean, I might start doing what SDPN does with this on the TikTok. Start, because like I'm a creative guy. I'm a film guy. I can make stuff with it.
Yeah.
It's just if I had ideas, I would love to. But like Riff, I guess if you want to follow my TikTok, it's Snake Geringer 9. So it's literally just my Twitter handle. Just slap a 9 at the end of it.
Don't follow me on TikTok.
Cautionary tale: do not.
Don't follow me. I don't do anything.
I don't do jack shit.
There's nothing bad there. There's literally nothing. You will gain nothing from following me.
It's just the desert. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know, man. Social media, at least for me, over the last like week and a half, has just been kind of like, right? It's just collapsing in on itself.
Yeah,
it's very strange. So anyway, we're gonna talk about Babs because he's official. We're gonna talk about dev camp stuff. There's some women's hockey news that literally broke as we were rendering the last show.
Yes. I would like to say, as we get into our next topic.
Yeah, and then we're gonna end it with like free agency highlights since it's been a week and a half since that started.
We can kind of just look and just softly a few things that happen.
Just be like, I like this deal, that kind of thing. But let's get this out of the way really quick because as you know, everything that we do here on THPN is through our buddies at DraftKings Sportsbook. So new customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, we've got the live streams that we do. We have like over 60 shows. Just so much that we do is through the help with DraftKings. So help us out. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Resort in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. $10 or 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. That one was a little hiccupy, but we got it.
Yeah.
It's funny having to just read it out now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it says that it's a minute-long read. But
I'd love to know who's reading it.
Just in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. So Mike Babcock is now officially the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And
I would like to say that I nailed it.
Yeah.
Babcock's being named head coach and Pascal Vincent staying on the staff.
Oh, Pascal staying. Yes. Yeah. I was going to start with like, I wish I would have made time to watch Babs's presser before we did this.
I didn't make time to watch it either, actually.
Before we did this. But from what
I feel like I needed to watch it, though, to be honest with you. A lot of those introductory press conferences are kind of the same. And to me, like at the end of the day, the way I feel about it is the way that I think most people feel about it. It doesn't come down to what you say in a press conference. It matters what you do with the players. And we talked about this before, so I don't want to repeat everything, ad nauseum, because people listen to this show. Some people do, believe it or not. They've heard what we said about this. What I will reiterate in case people missed it. I was pissed about this when it was first announced.
So was I.
But over time, you get the chance.
Reasonably so. Back. Yes.
Yes. And I like it now. And let me explain why I like it. I like it for many reasons. One, it's a 2-year deal.
Yes, and I still like, even with the knowledge of the 2-year deal, the short leash, all this stuff, I don't know if I'm gonna say I like it. You know what I
see
mean?
the upside, though.
Yes.
Yes. I think there's a hell of a lot more upside here than there was with Lars
Well, yeah. That, I mean,
when he first came in.
looking at it now is obvious.
Well, and I don't even mean that just in a 2020 hindsight
Yeah.
aspect. I mean, looking at it from the perspective of where we were years ago when that happened.
Babs could have been, yeah, like,
I'm looking at this and saying, okay, sure, the guy hasn't coached in 4 years. Sure, he hasn't won a playoff series in a decade. Which I want to make sure everyone knows that, because that is
yes,
part of his coaching resume. He does have all those wins, and he does have a Stanley Cup to his resume. He's got
he
3
has another run or two in there. He's plenty of runs in there.
I think he's only missed the playoffs. What? How many times in his career has he missed the play? Like once?
Well, you got to remember that was part of being in Detroit forever and ever, amen, when they were making the playoffs every year.
No doubt, but he did bring the Leafs back to life.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, since the Leafs fired him, now obviously all that stuff comes out after, but everything that Mike Babcock got on the Leafs about,
yeah,
has not been resolved in the last several years. And it's come up over and over and over and over again. And it's been a reason why they've been a failure in the playoffs.
It's strange how much
Starting
everything
games
comes
on
down.
time.
Yes.
Not blowing leads.
The same song and dance with defensive structures. Things like that. Babs he's a good coach.
Yeah, like I when I said those things about him, I didn't want it to make it seem like, oh, this guy's not a good coach. He is a good coach with a good track record. I don't think he's a great coach with a great track record, because there is a difference.
Yes.
I know that. There are concerns about the fact that he hasn't coached in the last 4 years. There are concerns, obviously, with some of the things that we've heard about him in the last 4 years.
With his own character issues.
But people can change. And they don't have to necessarily change entirely. You can learn to grow and manage things differently.
As you go, too. Like,
yeah.
I know Jeff said when we had Svo on that we need to swing in the direction of a hard-ass coach.
And that's typically the tendency you see in the National Hockey League. And I think it's fair to say that it's not a surprise that they went in this direction. And it's also
and there were other options out there, but like Babs being thrown in that ring does fit that bill.
Here's the thing with players coaches, okay? Players coaches have a longer shelf life in the National Hockey League. There's no doubt about that.
Well, yeah.
But more often than not, the success of the player's coach often comes hand in hand with the talented roster.
Yes.
It's not very often a player's coach goes to a team that's not very good and it just gets back on track immediately. Like a lot of times when a team, that's bad improves dramatically in a short period of time, it's because there's a hard ass behind the bench who's, molding the team and getting them to play harder defense, be more physical, can control their gaps, stuff like that.
Really tightening the work ethic.
Exactly. A culture reset, if you will.
We got a lot of really good players on this team, and I want to talk about culture in the locker rooms, in the practices.
Torts did not have this sort of baggage when he came here in 2016.
No, but we're not going to whine here.
He had baggage.
No, but we're not going to whine here.
Is it fair to say
Pittsburgh can whine. Pittsburgh whines enough for the whole
that? Are you
league.
going to answer my fucking question?
I'm having too much fun with impressions. I'm sorry.
Is it fair to say that though, right?
That Torts came with baggage? Absolutely.
Yes,
his time in Vancouver was
but it was
like
baggage.
Yeah, it was weird. Because Torts' baggage is way more out there for people to see.
Yes. Yeah. Because
his baggage is way more public.
He doesn't hide it.
No.
It's you. If he's pissed,
he owns it.
Know.
Yes, he owns it. He harnesses being pissed like this. That's just John Tortorella. That's how he is.
I think this will work out in one way or another for the Blue Jackets. One way it works out is Mike Babcock clicks with this team, and they have success. And after the season, with 1 year left on his contract, they come to an extension.
Yeah.
Another way they succeed is he coaches 2 years, and then they just promote Pascal Vincent at the end of it if he wants to go, if Babs wants to go somewhere else, or if they don't want to pay him the money.
Right.
The third way this can succeed is Babcock doesn't change his ways.
Team falls
flat on his face,
plays poorly, and
they
he
fire
doesn't do well
very quickly because they have a short leash for him. They have a very easy out, and they promote Pascal Vincent, who is very clearly one of the top coaching options for this team anyway. The only way this fails is if Babcock fails and then Vincent fails.
Right.
Which would absolutely, in that case, mark the end of the Jarmo Kekalainen era.
I want to throw that other hat in the ring in there for you. Because I have seen this on Twitter from CBJ haters and Kyle and a lot of the other fans that we know that we love, that this is a 2-year deal. Jarmo Kekalainen also is up.
Yes.
At the end of these 2 years. What's the possibility that they both just walk?
I haven't considered that. I doubt that happens. I could see one. I think it's far more likely that Babcock would walk in 2 years than Jarmo. Jarmo, I know this might sound strange to a lot of people. I actually think Columbus is one of the better jobs in the National Hockey League. And I don't mean that just from, as a fan talking about my
yeah.
I mean that in the sense of Jarmo Kekalainen and the Columbus Blue Jackets have won one playoff series in the last 10 years. His job is not in jeopardy.
No, he has had one of the most secure positions. I can't
think of a better job in the National Hockey League than that.
He's
good luck finding another team in the National Hockey League where you can win one series in a decade and you still have job security.
Yeah, that's the funny, I don't know if that's the funny thing about Jarmo, or whether that comes from the top, or
I think
JD.
It's a place of context. It comes from a place of the first 13 years of this organization's history. They made the playoffs one time. They didn't win a playoff game. It was putrid. It was pathetic. And Jarmo Kekalainen has given them stability. And he's a general manager who I would say has won slightly more of his trades than has lost. He got you a key marquee free agent in Johnny Gaudreau. The Blue Jackets are making money every single season. We're seeing tickets go up every single year.
We're seeing sellouts rise every year.
They did win their first ever playoff series against Tampa, and then they did beat Toronto the next year. I don't really count that as a playoff series because it was a qualifying round, but
COVID's
whatever.
It was always weird with that.
If you count it, you count it. If you don't, you don't.
Well, they found a way to count it somehow in the record books, I guess, but
yeah.
Besides the point.
I think in the grand scheme of things, part of the reason is one of the scariest things in not just in sports but in life is change, because if you have something that's solid, sure, you could move on to something and it could be great.
Yes.
You could also move on to something and it could be dog shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So, standards and all that context, I think, is important, because I think it's kind of led to a place of comfort.
It's like, for speaking as a fan and as someone that can objectively look at general managers around the league, you look at a guy like Jarmo Kekalainen and he's comfortable, and he's a good general manager for this franchise.
Yeah.
He drafts well. He brings in decent free agent signings to wild free agent signings. Like, everybody has their hits and misses.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like
anything.
He's a part of that culture.
Let's look at the top 2 free agents he's ever signed. One of them was a hit and one of them was a total whiff. Now, granted, the one that was a total whiff is all because of injury in Nathan Horton.
Oh, oh my God! Didn't that anniversary
you think
just
about
pass?
That was very early on in his tenure. He was
Yeah.
able to land a top free agent, and then he does it 9 years later with Johnny Gaudreau. Now that one's going to work out. I think the other thing is, like, his job is secure because the Blue Jackets have one of the better prospect pools in the National Hockey League.
Yes.
Most people would argue it's top 3 right now, with the addition of Fantilli to that.
I was going to say, yeah, didn't you send me a thing that had them tops?
Yes. Now that's just one account, but I think it's fair to say most people would have him top 5, top 3.
Yes.
I think when you look at a team that adds a top free agent like Johnny Gaudreau, is super young on paper and has one of the top prospect pools, you're probably going to want the general manager who has kind of brought that all together to see things through and continue to build it up.
Yes.
Now, if you do that and the results still aren't there, then you have to make a change. But it wouldn't make sense for the Blue Jackets to make a change in the next 2 years as we're building this. And I think for Jarmo, if it works, why would you leave?
No, yeah, exactly. Why?
If in the next 2 years he gets this team back to the playoffs, it would be a really strange time to walk away.
Yeah.
So could I see Babs having success and walking in 2 years? Sure, I could see that. Can I see Jarmo having job security, making it to the end of this contract, being offered a new contract, and walking away? No. If Yarmo's not here in 2 years, it's because he's been fired, not because he walked away.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And as we go into the dev camp stuff really fast, just to touch on some things with that, I pray to God that with a guy like Mike Babcock coming in, who is very strategic, he's very fundamentals based, he's able to shape a guy like Patrick Laine into more of a complete player. He's able to bring in fundamentals into Fantilli's game. We'll see what happens with Jiricek bouncing around between the A and the NHL this year.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think we've seen a transformation in Laine's game. A lot of people are concerned about Patrick Laine with Mike Babcock. I'm not. Patrick Laine had some of his best years in Winnipeg under Paul Maurice.
Yeah.
Paul Maurice is notable players coach, Paul Maurice.
And another one to do fun impressions of.
Yeah, like, there's guys on this team who are used to tough coaching.
Yeah.
Laine had that in Winnipeg. Gaudreau had that under Sutter. In a lot of these guys had it under Torts when Torts was in Columbus. It's not like this team are going to be strangers to hard coaching, and Elvis's best years came when Torts was the coach.
Right.
And his numbers dipped after Torts left. Now, that's not the only thing that happened that may contribute to his numbers dipping, but it is important to note that, that's certainly a factor.
Yes, absolutely. I just hope that it's good for, like, I keep coming back to the mental stuff with Babs because that's a big part of who he is now and the stories behind him now.
Yeah.
I know I read something about whether that was during the presser or like a lunch meeting or something, that he was with his son for this. And Mike said something off color, and his son was like, "Hey, Dad, you can't say that anymore." So he still has to have these reminders apparently from time to time.
Fair. It happens. The good thing that I think about this, like with all this stuff being kind of leaked out about Babs over the years, is what I think it does is it's going to give some powers to the players to say, Babs, you gotta back off a little here.
Yeah.
And I think with that communication, because I think the players did have that with Torts. I think that the players were able to tell Torts to back off a little bit because I remember him talking about that when after he was done with the Rangers, he felt that if a couple players would have just told him to back off, it could have helped. But who knows? Like this is an opportunity for leaders in the Blue Jackets room to really step up and make a difference. This is time for Zach Werenski or Boone Jenner or Johnny or Patrick or any of these guys to say, hey, Babs, we just need you to back off a little bit here.
Chill.
We know what you're doing.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that gets me a little bit of hope about this is because all of this is out there, it might make it easier for the players to do that.
And you had to have approval from these guys.
It might make him more aware. So when a player does say that, he doesn't bark back. He says, you're right. I think it can work in that way. And the other thing is, like, when you look at the stories about like Mitch Marner and what, like, Mitch Marner turned out to be a hell of a player. So.
Well, it's funny because like the list thing is probably, it's a shitty thing, but it's like one of the least
that one was brought up not because it was like horrifically bad, like the Franzen stuff or anything. It was brought up the most because it was kind of funny. Like the concept of it is kind of funny to be like, make a list of who works.
Yeah, make a list of your work ethic.
Like, come on. Yeah.
It's so dumb. Especially to show it to the guys at the bottom of the list and rat those guys out. It's like, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to welcome Babs in, and we're gonna have a bit of a wall. Like it's gonna be like a window of a car, just kind of like halfway up. That's how I'm gonna see this.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see what happens come October. But right now, Dev Camp has been happening for players around the league. We just had ours recently. I know Jeremy and Laura were over there. By the way, congrats to them for joining Inside the Rink, which is fun.
Yeah, congrats to
them. So they were there. They got to interview guys like Gavin Brinley and Fantilli and Whitelaw and all these kids. Ours was more of a stereotypical dev camp where it was more on ice stuff.
Yeah.
I know, like, I think they said that Chicago's or Florida's was going to be working with community areas and learning about the community and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
So, like, some of these dev camps are actually going off ice and doing really cool initiatives with the.
I like that a lot
with the new guys.
Did you see that Fantilli did the Michigan?
Yeah, that was one of his first goals. That, like, he had to, like, he just had to. That's, come on, man.
So smooth too. It's ridiculous.
I want to eventually see a game where we get 2 Michigan goals, one from KJ and one from Adam. Like
I was thinking that too, because like it sounds ridiculous. It could happen.
it could happen.
Like,
Yes.
it could legitimately happen. There is a non-zero chance that could happen in a game.
I want to see them play on a line together too. Just like see how that
I think we'll see that.
kind of like, you know what I mean?
I think it's very possible you might see those two play together at some point this season.
I was talking about with friends the star centers on a penalty kill got brought up somewhere, and they were talking about like, because this was in a Leafs chat, so it was like watching a guy like Austin kill more penalties, watching a guy like Mitch kills penalties. We know this.
Yeah.
And he's damn good at it.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. It's just like watching Austin do that more. It's trying, I know didn't Connor McDavid start doing it more this year too?
Yeah, it's funny because Connor isn't like, obviously he's not terrible defensively, but he's not known for defense.
Right. I can
But
see Austin doing it.
Put him on the penalty kill because he's so good
at everything.
That if he gets the puck, he can create down a man.
Right, exactly.
They literally changed their approach from they weren't as concerned about like
playing keep away with it,
kill off every penalty. It's more so we can neutralize the power play by having penalty kill that can threaten to score because of Connor McDavid, which is
right.
It's kind of strange, but it's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and I can see Austin doing it too because he's a good defensive. Like he has way more defensive prowess than a guy like Connor.
There's something to be said about having speed on your penalty kill, because what it can do is it can force the opposing team's power play to be a little bit more careful with the puck.
I bring this up to say that, I want to see Adam try it. I don't know how good defensively Fantilli is per se,
I don't think
but like,
we're going to know until we see him play.
But like, it would be nice
fine with him not doing it as a rookie, but potentially second or third year. Yeah, I mean, you see where he's at that point. I think that it is a trend that we are going to start to see in the National Hockey League, though. For sure.
Your star centerman go out there and kill penalties more.
Absolutely, I think it's smart.
Yeah,
because if you can just threaten even a little bit, it actually helps you defensively because they have to be a little bit more aware.
Now that we say that, I definitely see Bedard potentially doing the same thing in Chicago.
Bedard is going to do it from day one because
Bedard's going to do everything.
They might not have a better defensive center than Connor Bedard, and I have no idea how good defensively he is yet.
Right. I don't know, man. It's just
Connor
one of those.
Bedard's going to be averaging like 27, 28 minutes a night as a forward.
This poor dude, this poor kid. I definitely see Adam starting off as the second line guy this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep Boone up on the top line with Johnny, and I think with the return of Texier as well as getting Adam Fantilli, like I don't think we're going to try line A at center unless there's injuries.
Unless push comes to shove with that, yeah. Kevin Brindley had himself a time.
Yep.
Did you see the stuff on socials today about like meet the prospects and whatever?
No, I have not been on social media much today, so I haven't had a chance to see any of it.
This one was kind of cute because they asked the kids, what would you bring with you on a deserted island, right? And the first thing out of Adam's mouth was Gavin Brindley.
Yeah, very good.
But then I saw Brindley's and it just said a friend. It's like, I think we know who that friend is, Gav. I saw the goalies were taking some drills that were, just like it was really fun getting this dev camp content just to watch them work.
Just to get a little bit of hockey content. We haven't had it from the Blue Jackets in a while because
Yeah,
the season's been over for them for a long time.
you're
And
right.
when it was going on, we wanted it to be over.
And then by this point, we're like, please.
And now we're like, please come back.
Yeah. And I've been seeing a lot of that from Jeffy on his Instagram. Svo's got some really good video content with that. Friggin' Danny. Oh my god, Danny.
Yeah.
Shouting her out for the pictures. Wow. She's killing it. I love it. And Jeremy and Laura getting to do their thing, and they're going to be writing articles and stuff about it now, as well as talking about it on their show.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff coming from people like us and Danny, and Subjectively Speaking, and we're just, we're all young people that love this team. And we want to share about this team. And, if by chance we can find a way to turn that into a career with it, right? That's kind of the point of being a fan and being so deeply ingrained with a team like this in your brain.
Well, I mean, it becomes a part of your life.
Yeah. It's just, and we love doing it, right?
Yeah.
When you love doing something, you really want to make that a core of who you are.
Man, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah. And that goes to be said for, all the kids at this camp. Some of them are going to get NHL jobs eventually. Some of them are going to get other, pro league jobs probably.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's playing in Europe, whether that's playing in the E or the A.
Right.
I can see a lot of that happening with these kids, and Dev Camp was really fun this year, I think, because we've just got such a really awesome crop of guys. Right?
Yeah.
I think it does make it more fun when you have a top prospect pool.
Oh, no doubt, because it's the excitement of watching each of these players collectively grow up together.
Yeah.
And building a core that way.
Right.
It's nice. It's exciting.
Yeah. I don't know. This team, for what it's worth, has done really good things even through mud over the last couple of seasons, right?
Yeah. Hey, look, there's reason to have hope and optimism, so at the end of the day, it's all you can ask for heading into most seasons, because there's nothing more dreadful than heading into a season and being like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah. All you got to do is leave no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We do need one bit one day, and I'm just going to address this on air, I guess, where we just make up a conversation between Yarmo and Babs. Just
just go right into it. Yeah, we should. Luckily, have like a whole script.
Yeah, we should write something. That'd be really funny. Just make a sketch. Be cool. So the women story, this broke literally as I was working on getting our last show out.
Yes.
So that's why, I wanted to shoot Saturday. You were dog sitting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but this is happening. And now I guess that gave us time to get all the details out at least.
Mm-hmm.
So the gist of what's happening is we're going to have one league.
Yes.
We're going to have one women's league. which we've been asking for it for a while, right?
We have. Just not like this.
Right. So what happened is there's the PWHPA, which is the union.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the PHF, the NWHL, that whole league.
Yeah, and NWHL turned into the PHF, and now the PHF will cease to exist.
PHF owners sold the league rights to the union.
Yes.
And
several of the franchises are done.
I've heard just one. They're going to go down to 6 teams. They currently have 7.
Yeah.
I don't know what the team is going to be that's getting axed. Some are saying
Buffalo's getting axed.
Is it the Buttes? Oh.
Well, no, like I think all of them but one are getting axed.
Oh God.
Like it's a combo of the two. So there's going to be 6 teams.
Mm-hmm.
But all these players who signed contracts prior to this, those contracts are voided.
Yes.
Now, these players are getting, from what I understand, severance packages for it. But here's the thing. We understand the importance of having simply just one league.
They are going to get health benefits as well. I'm just reading this now. Haley Salvian, what I've learned over the last few days about the CBA, which is now ratified, they have their CBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive. It's in-depth, covering things like salary, housing, relocation expenses, pregnancy benefits, parental leave, a 401k program, nursing accommodations, a lot more.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot of benefits from this CBA.
Yes, which is a good thing. It sucks that a lot of people are essentially losing their jobs over this.
Yes.
Now, granted, moving to one league, it's very possible that we will see expansion in very short order.
Mm-hmm.
More success in the league. Like we saw the PHF expanded a couple of different times and they had plans for more expansion on the way. They were starting to have some success. It's very possible that we see that with this one collective league, things coming together, that we see more teams come about, they keep adding on, yada, 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 more jobs are created, whatnot. It just sucks in the moment that a lot of people are essentially losing their jobs over this. And my biggest issue is I just feel like it is very possible to have combined the two together, to have 13 total leagues. Nobody loses their jobs if the NHL would just fucking step in
and just support this. Like
they've invested so much goddamn money to the Arizona Coyotes, but they won't put any money into women's hockey.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Because we know the NHL
has been thriving for a long time. It's gotten a ton of support from the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And that works. That model works.
Yes.
And we've seen the growth of women's basketball as a result. It's a very good thing. I don't understand why this stupid ass backwards league just won't invest some damn money into growing the game.
So here's a tweet that I don't know how to read this. I'm just going to read it verbatim, and
okay,
I want you to try to pull from this because the wording in some of this is strange. Things that were reported yesterday about the new league and PHF acquisition that do not appear to be true. So hopefully these are just like things that were reported that aren't happening.
Okay.
The way that we think that we originally thought were happening. PWHPA players have preference on rosters. PHF players on work visas are being deported soon. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That I read that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not happening. PHF players who get roster spots won't be covered by the CBA. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
So I was trying to find something about the fact that PW players are going to be getting primary selection to these rosters, which is
I haven't seen anything on that.
Which is part of why so many PHF players are probably going to be losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that the PHF just isn't going to be a thing anymore.
Right. And this is the thing, like when you have 13 total teams across the two leagues, and then you combine together, you go down to 6 teams. That's a shit ton of roster spots that are being lost.
Yes.
A shit ton of jobs that are being lost.
Well, because the pool of the union is like, what, a few hundred players?
I don't know what the number is, but it's got to be somewhere in that, right?
Because the thing with having the PWHPA and them doing like the Dream Gap Tour and things is like being a team sport and just having a union as your entity. It's like, how do you make that work? You know,
yeah.
why wouldn't you just have teams in your union?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
We've got this is kind of neat. They actually released salary info for this. $35,000 to $80,000 plus. No more than 9 players per team can make the minimum. Minimum salary will raise by 3% each year. In year 1, each team must sign at least 6 players to 3-year deals of 80,000 plus, and there's details about performance bonuses.
That's good news. But again, we need to see these numbers go up over time, hopefully with the growth of the game. Curious to see what happens as far as television and broadcasting is concerned. Are these games going to be ESPN Plus again, like they did with the PHF? How are we going to be able to watch these?
Yeah. The official launch is in August. It's nice to see that PHF players are, going to be able to join this league. And but these owners, man, these PHF owners, I think they're more the ones in the wrong here.
Yeah.
Because it was their decision to be sold, I guess. It's very strange. And there was the whole thing about like players finding out in real time with everybody else, people not knowing what the hell was going on. Just like as the fire was being burned, people were. The whole thing started really, really messy.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, normally when leagues merge, it's messy. We saw that with not saying that this is like it, but we saw that with golf with the Live Tour and the PGA.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times when this stuff happens, it's messy, like the NHL and
the WHA mergers.
WHA. That was a very messy merger too.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to have very easy, simple, clean mergers of leagues. I'm just hoping that since this is what they're doing, it has to be sustainable.
Right.
We cannot afford any setbacks from here.
Right. I don't.
And it's important for hockey fans to pay attention, because if we want to see this league succeed, we have to be a part of the success.
Yeah.
We have to watch, we have to invest.
Lord
knows the National Hockey League won't do it.
When have we ever saw them want to line anybody else's pockets but their own? Right?
Exactly.
especially in growth of the game. As much as they praise how much they're growing the game.
Let me restructure the phrase so it rings true.
Mm-hmm.
Grow the game the way we want to grow the game.
Grow the game, but not like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Almost all PHF staff have had their contracts terminated despite messaging from the league that they'd be receiving similar roles in the new league.
Yeah.
That's
like I said,
awful.
It is awful, but like I said, like a lot of jobs are going to be lost because if you're the GM of one of the PHF teams, well, okay, there's only 6 teams now. What are you going to do? Be the GM for another team? There's only 6. Like a lot of jobs are lost because of this. You'll have to take on a lesser role or find some other job.
Yeah, a lot of these women were already, because they weren't getting paid enough for the hockey, they were, working normal jobs alongside this.
Yeah, I've written articles when I worked for the Buttes about, players who had different jobs on top of playing. Some were nurses. One of them in the summers would work on an ice cream farm up in Massachusetts.
Ice cream farm?
Yeah.
Kind of how do you do that?
It's like a dairy farm, but primarily the product is ice cream.
Okay, all right. So like basically it's just a dairy farm with extra steps is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. I just hope that for not just so like we know a lot of women's players by their popularity, right?
Mm-hmm.
People like Sarah Nurse and Marie-Philippe Poulin,
Amanda Kessel,
Amanda, and a lot of notable players, Debian, and usually more for like Team Canada, but but
a
the
lot
US
of
team
them, I think it's fair to say a lot of them make their name for what they do internationally.
Yes. And obviously the US team as well. We've talked about, Finnish and Swedish women's players that got their accolades for the Hall of Fame recently, and all this to say, gosh, where was I even going with this? I think I just lost my train of thought with this. Oh, yes, I'm worried for the women that are just trying to do this because it's their dream to want to do this for a living. Yes. That we just don't pay as much attention to. We know a lot of players by name brand, but even those players, we want to see them succeed and make the money that they need to make.
I think it's fair to say the PHF didn't really have the names that the other league had. So a lot of these players who carved out important roles on these PHF teams, they're not like star players, but if you're a middle six player on a team in the PHF, you might not have a job in hockey.
Right.
You can go from playing second or third line minutes on a team, and suddenly you're not even on a roster at all. You're retired. And it's not your choice. Like that's what sucks.
Being forced into retirement because your league just decided to sell.
Because your league just folded.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. I'm hopeful that under this new model, we can see some expansion, we can see some growth. Maybe this can be sustainable. But my concern is A, for all the people who've lost their jobs over this, and B, my concern is if this doesn't sustain, women's hockey is going to be set back another decade.
Yes.
Plus.
I hope that with the PHF folding, that the decision to do that when it comes to expansion and everything, I hope that they go back to those markets that just don't
I
have
have no
teams
doubts
anymore.
that they will. Like I have no doubts that when they do expansion, if they do expansion, you'll see them return to Buffalo or to Hartford or and whatnot. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just go back to those names.
Oh, the Whale and the Buttes. I would
Well,
hope
the
so. Like,
Buttes and
I would
the
hope you would
Metropolitan,
just revive those. Yeah.
yeah, revive them. I think that might be a hope they have in mind, but we'll see where it goes.
It's just so weird, the night and day from going from what last year we talked about the PHF just going ahead and expanding to like Detroit and Montreal. The Force became a thing. Detroit had its stuff in the works for like the year after,
And
now they're gone.
Yeah, sucks. Absolutely sucks. All right, let's get to.
How about we talk about some free agents? Huh? We're going to start with the one that's been going around today. We're going to start fresh, right? Because the cat came back. Cat came home.
Motor City Man.
Alex DeBrincat traded from the Senators finally, because we've been trying to talk about the cat trade for ages, right? Because this whole thing was just a headache.
Yeah,
couldn't come to terms with anything.
You make a deal for Alex DeBrincat that looks like a steal on paper, and then a year later, you have to make another Alex DeBrincat trade because you're not extending him long term, and that trade ends up being a fleecing of your own. So,
yeah,
unfortunately, they traded the 7th overall pick and other assets for a year of Alex DeBrincat, and now Dominic Kubalik.
Kubalik's a good player. I like him. He's no DeBrincat.
Is he worth the 7th overall pick?
No, and he's no 40 goal scorer.
Exactly. This was a disaster for the Senators. Now, I'm not going to be too hard on them because I think just about everybody and their brother last year said that the initial DeBrincat deal was a steal.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out the way they hoped, and it sucks when that happens. But I love this trade for the Red Wings. I love the extension for the Red Wings. I think this is a great fit for the player.
It carries him until he's 29, so he'll have another opportunity to sign longer term and stay home.
I think we'll see him sign another contract for the Red Wings. I love the fit, and I'm happy for him. So this is a good move.
Well, it's funny when you see guys just go to the team that they grew up watching.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the dream, right? Well, the dream's the cup, but to do it with your hometown team.
No, the dream is to win the cup with your hometown team.
Yes. Pat, like I said, it takes him till he's 29. He's getting paid Jesper Bratt money.
Mm-hmm.
So 7.875 over the course of 4 years. And like, can we talk about that when we texted each other earlier with like not with like long-term in quotes? Like we've talked about this before.
Like we're in a league now where 4 years isn't considered long-term. 4 years is a long time.
It is a long time. When we signed Patrick to this deal, I was
4
like,
years is like start of college to end of college if you're just doing 4 years. Like
it's a presidential
term. High school.
It's a presidential term. Like 4 years. A lot happens in 4 years.
If you serve just one term, does that mean you were a short-term president?
No.
Like, come on, folks. Let's be real here.
Yeah, exactly. 4 years is a long-term commitment for a player. And I think it's just because we usually like seeing the 6 to 8 year deals more.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know, and that's why we just consider 4 to be like kind of an iffy bridge.
I'm just going to bring this up now because we got to bring it out of the way. Speaking of 6 to 7 to 8 year contracts, what in the holy fucking hell are the New York Islanders doing?
Oh no, what did they do this time?
Oh no, I'm just talking about what they've done.
Oh, just what they've done?
I won't get to it.
Well, okay, because I got so what we're gonna do is I got the free agent tracker up, and we're just gonna rapid fire through this by team.
All right, let's
Okay.
go.
All right.
Go to that.
Let's do this. All right. So the Ducks start because this is, I believe this is alphabetical, right?
Okay.
They signed Alex Killorn, which is awesome. Great get for them.
A
A lot of money. A lot of money, a lot of term.
A lot of money for that player.
I mean, this is like
Money.
with the. I feel like the too much money went to the defenseman.
Went to both.
The funny thing is, like, we know the cap's going up. We've seen Adam address this ad nauseum.
Yeah.
The cap's going up by $1 million for this year, so it's 83, and then we're gonna get like a 4 million spike next summer.
Yeah.
So that's fine, and then probably if things go well, right? Hopefully, then we'll get like more of a 7 to 10 jump the year after.
Wow.
Maybe I would hope. But that's also going to make a lot of these deals signed this summer more digestible for cap to like inflate space and whatever, you know?
Right.
So they may look bad like right now with only a 1 million jump, but like I think they'll be fine next year.
I think just as a precedent, some of them just aren't good deals.
No, yeah, and we'll get to a
All
lot.
Right, now let's rapid fire. Lauren,
Gudis, and Hag. Gudis got 3, Hag got 1.
Yeah. Hag is depth. Gudis and Killorn are players I like, but I don't think they're huge difference makers on the Ducks considering where they're at right now.
Dostal, Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras, they're group 2 free agents. The guys that walked and or can re-sign Beaulieu, DJ MDZ, Derek Grant, Harrington, Jason Megna, who went to Boston, John Moore, Shattenkirk, who also went to Boston.
Well, why don't we just talk about who has signed with each team rather than going with who walked? Sure. That's going to take forever.
Sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, it'll eventually just get to whatever, right?
Yeah. It'll
get to where we'll talk about him anyway, right?
Right, exactly. So,
Desert Dogs next. Arizona, Jason Zucker, 1 year. I like that.
But floor move.
Well, I like a lot of this it's Arizona, right? But they are making moves to get notable players that we know and that can play, which is fun. Bugstad re-upped for 2 years. Valalta, I think he's a goalie prospect, right?
Yeah.
He's like AHL depth.
He was a Kings prospect that I think they got on waivers, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Galchenyuk. Galch is back for a year. Galch is back for a year. Stetcher signed for another year.
Kerfoot.
Kerf 2 years. Leonard for a year. I don't know. Is that John? That's not John Leonard, is it? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Leonard. John Leonard. Yep.
Oh, well.
John Leonard and another 1 year to Nathan Smith. So another like depth signing. I do kind of want to bring up Michelli real quick because he's a big RFA that they have. And hopefully he can
bridge deal.
Nice little bridge to patch him up a bit, right? Baston. JVR got a year, I think, right? He got just the one. Got one. Luch is back for
1 year
this year. Love that. Lucci feels, didn't he say he feels like he should have never left?
Sure.
Something, he said something just to say, like, you know,
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this might take forever if we go team by team.
Shattenkirk a year, Geeky 2, Wotherspoon, Magna, Richard, a lot of ones, Brown 2, Lauco, Kaiser. Sure. Buffalo, Tyson Jost a year. EJ a year in Buffalo. So
Yeah.
EJ moving from Colorado to Buffalo. Connor Clifton for 3, which is kind of fun. Tokarski 1. And Clegg 1. A lot of guys that you like in there. Calgary. I'm just trying to look. Osterley got a year. Nothing with them that really like sticks out to me. A lot of it was just like prospect signings and things.
Yeah.
Carolina, Antti Ranta's back for the year, which is fun. Dmitry Orlov too. Pretty nice. Freddie is back for 2 as well, so like they're gonna run it back in net. Michael Bunting 3, really good get for them with bunts.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to get more on the market, so that's actually a good deal.
Yeah. And then Coughlin re-upped for a year as well. The only thing Chicago's done is Ryan Donato for 2 years. That's the only like actual free agent they went to get. Because they still have like Khrushchev and Kyra and guys like that they could sign, right?
Right.
Things like that. Colorado, Miles Wood. Oh my God, this guy cashed. 6 years for Miles Wood.
Saw that made them give him a 6-year deal.
6 years for Miles Wood. What? Excuse me?
Yeah, there was some being smoked.
That was a weird one, Joe. I don't know. Jonathan Drouin 1 year, nice move. Bowen Byram getting 2 years.
McKinnon.
Ooh.
Bring him back.
Ooh. Get some Halifax.
Yeah, get some
Halifax Magic back. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Could you imagine if they did that, if they put him on the top line and he just completely revived his career? That'd be sick.
Well, like, it's funny because then you could still couldn't you just bump Lecky down and still be fine? Because wouldn't Lehkonen work just fine on the second line?
Oh, God, yeah. No, it gives them flexibility. I know a lot of people just think it's a random small 1-year deal. No, I think that Drouin could potentially like have a really good year for them.
Yeah, and then Lehkonen playing with Johansson would be kind of fun. Bowen Byram extended for 2. Akan signs for 2. Our boy Riley Tufte is there.
Yeah.
Schoenemann, Holm, Wagner. Cogs re-upped for a year.
Yeah.
I hope he plays.
Oh, he will play. They have a role for him. I hope he heals.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he gonna be fine enough to play?
Oh, he'll be. Yeah, it'll take some time, but he'll be back.
I know Darren Helm retired. Hope he has fun.
Happy retirement.
Happy retirement to Darren. JJ's back. The piece to the puzzle for the cup win. So JJ's back, and then Eustace Annunen also signed another year. We haven't done a damn thing.
I love it.
I know
it sounds weird. I love that they haven't signed anybody because they already made their moves. They traded for Probro. They did a sign and trade for Damon Severson. They got Anna Fantilli in the draft. They did it. They did what they needed to do. They don't need to sign anybody. They don't need to give out some stupid contract. Nope. Go next season with the roster you've got, because if you think about it, 3 players I just mentioned are additions, and so is Alexander Texier.
Yes, it's going to be really nice to have Tex back. They did make a couple of smaller moves though, where they extended the qualifying offer to Tim Burney. So Burney's got his QO, which shouldn't be much.
They extended Marcus Bjork for 1 year.
Good to see. I like Bjork.
Yeah, good depth.
Yeah. And then Bayreuther walked and went back to Dallas. Gillies and Hutch are also out there in the ether. And then other guys that either signed somewhere else or whatever. Luoto, he could come back as depth if he wanted to. Could go back to Europe. He could do whatever he wants. Lane Peterson went to Edmonton, and then Justin Richards went to Buffalo.
Oh, nice.
So hope those guys have a nice time with their new franchises. Dialis, who is this guy? Because it just says Smith. Craig. Okay. So Craig Smith. Yeah. Like when you read just Smith, it's like this could be literally anybody in the world. Right?
Yeah.
This could be like my cousin from down the street. I don't know. Smith 1 year, Hanley 2 extended. They got Dutchy, so they got Duchesne for a year. A year. I say that because I was reading Sam's deal. He also got a year.
Yeah.
Bayreuther's back for the year. Pouliot signing with their farm team as well. Kind of nice to see Derek Pouliot still like kicking it in pro hockey, right?
Yeah.
Detroit, oh my god. This is a list, bro. You ready for this?
Rapid fire. Let's go. Don't even mention the years, just the names.
Justin Hall, Klim
Yes.
Kostin,
Yes.
Lindstrom. I want to say
Yeah.
Isaac Lindstrom, maybe, right?
Southlands?
I don't know. It just says Lindstrom. Matt Luff, James Reimer. Oh boy. Rafferty. Okay. A lot of these are good depth guys. Daniel Sprong, like the guy. Gettinger, Comfer, that one. Oh boy, we'll see how that goes because that's 5.
Yeah. I like Confer.
I like Comfer too. Gostisbehere, Ghost going for a year. Christian Fisher also going over there. So he leaves the desert. Alex Lyon going. And some Stevens kid. Nolan Stevens getting okay, yeah. So they made a lot of moves for the big league roster and a lot of depth.
Yeah.
I
New
wonder-
liquidators. Be interesting to see what happens with them.
I wonder because it's going to be Reimer and gosh,
Husso.
who? Oh, Husso. Why do I keep forgetting that he's there? Friggin', and now that they've got Cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get Cat and Larkin. You got a lot of really good moves there. The one that I don't really like is adding another kind of weird, older, iffy player back there in Justin. And that's not to say that I don't like Justin Hall. It's just we know what he is.
I think with them trading Hronik away to the Canucks last year.
Oh, Hronik, right? You got to fill that.
They wanted to get a right hand shot replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So Hull's the guy that they landed on. And I like going out and get Shane Gostisbehere. I'm very high on him. I know he doesn't play much defense, but you live with that for how good he is on the power play.
Still
I like what the Red Wings have done. My only thing is I do like the Comfort deal because I do think that he's actually a guy who, when you put him up in a top 6 role and you put him in that second line center role, I think he'll thrive.
Mm-hmm.
I like the move a lot more if they didn't have Andrew Kopp.
Right.
The Andrew Kopp deal with the JT Comfort deal is like, ugh.
Well, that's how I feel about
like $10 million combined for those two guys.
I know there's not much left on term. I think I don't know. I haven't looked at this deal in a while. But that's how I feel on the back end with Justin Hall and Ben Sherratt.
Ben Sherratt has 4 years left on his deal.
Oh my god!
Or no, 3 years. 3 years.
That's still like you got those guys together for. That's I don't like that. I don't like that. Going to Edmonton, Kajula's back too. Peterson 2. Logan Brown got 1. And then a couple other depth guys. Evan Bouchard is interesting. I wonder what he's going to get.
They're going to have to get him some money.
Yeah. Clefbaum, I think, comes off the books.
Yeah.
Finally. Like, I feel bad for Oscar Clefbaum because this dude was such a good player.
Oh, he was. Yeah, absolutely. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah. It's just like I feel really bad for the guy that he couldn't really be a part of it anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sucks with injuries like that. Going down south to the Cup runner-ups in Florida. Nico Mikkola, 3 years. Kind of nice shoring that up. Mike Riley for a year. Lucas Carlson. Or is that Gabriel?
Lucas.
That is Lucas. Okay. Lucas Carlson. Denisenko 2. Kulikov 1. OEL goes there for one.
Interesting.
Stolarz, Stenland, so our buddy Kevin going to Florida. Rodriguez, which is kind of nice. Alex True, Lockwood, Mayhew, Asplin. A lot of guys.
I really like the Evan Rodriguez deal a lot.
Yeah. That one's 4. That one's got more. Ooh.
It's a nice long-term investment at only $3 million for a very effective middle six player.
So they lost a lot of guys in Gudis, in Hornquist, who retired. You lose your third goalie, but they didn't lose.
Rodriguez is a great replacement for Hornquist.
Yes. They definitely went out and they knew who was leaving, and they got good fits to fill those roles.
Yeah.
The Kings get Cam Talbot for a year. Trevor Lewis came back for a year. Anderson Dolan extended. Riddick, Maltsev, and Santini all a year. Okay.
Wow.
Bjornfoot gets 2, and Akil Thomas re-upped for 1 as well. I hope Akil Thomas makes it soon.
So nothing much going on with the Kings. Like they made the Dubois trade, and then that was really about it.
That was their biggest move. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope Akil Thomas makes it. I love him. Like, and just to see another minority face make it in the NHL would be kind of fun.
There's some skill in this game. Yeah.
There's a lot of good skill with this game.
Find a fit into the roster for the Kings. The unfortunate thing with the team like the Kings who have been rebuilding for a little bit and competitive at the same time is not a ton of spots available up for grab.
Right.
So we'll see what he can do.
Minnesota has only signed Lettieri for 2 years.
Yeah, because they have no fucking money to work with because of the
and
Ryan
Lucchini
and Zach Parise buyouts.
So they have those buyouts, but here's the problem, right? The 3 big names that they need to lock up soon, but they kind of can't yet because of how constricted they are with these buyouts. Addison's coming up, Duame's coming up, and Gustafsson is coming up.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money between those 3 players.
You're going to have to convince those players to take a bridge deal and pay them later when the buyouts don't hurt you as much.
Right.
And when the cap goes up.
Yeah, especially when the cap goes up. Excuse me, Canadians. Leah Anderson, Harvey Pinard got extended. I like that extension for Harvey Pinard. Really good player for them. And then they have they got Newhook and Mitchell Stevens and Jesse Alonen. So they've got guys still that look like they'll be fits. Nashville, they made a lot of moves. Luke Shen, 3 years. Gus going for 2 years. Gus Nyquist. Grosnick to shore up the depth in the A. Cody Glass extended for 2. Roar, Ryan O'Reilly going for 4.
Yeah.
As the replacement for either Dutchy or Joey, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then Carrier got an extension as well for a year, and then Weatherby down there for their AHL team. So their Group 2 guys are fine. Borrow retired and is going to join their front office, which is fun.
Nice. Good for him.
Sanford is out, and yeah, it's just they're going to be fine. It's going to be interesting to see what Barry does, because Trotz.
I think he's starting he's starting to rebuild. I think
so too. It's really because nobody's been spared.
Yeah. What'll be the tell is what he does with Yusei Saros.
Yes. Whether he trades him, whether he trades Askarov, or both potentially, who knows?
Trading both would be insane.
Yeah. It's just funny because knowing that this is the first new regime ever in Nashville.
It's weird.
It's very strange. The Devils, obviously go check out our buddy Neil. He's he's already got his Summer of Fitzy episode out. Because Tom's had himself a summer.
Dude, he's had a great summer.
Bastion for 2, McLeod for 1. I'm surprised Michael McLeod is staying.
We'll see what happens with Michael McLeod in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, because we're supposed to hear about Hockey Canada stuff soon. So
Yeah,
everybody buckle up for that.
He was on that team, and that's all we're going to say.
Buckle up for that. Eric Shalgren, a year. So Shalgren's moving.
Yeah, extra depth.
Chris Gillo and Dowling, each 2 ways as well. So shoring up the depth there.
Yeah.
With some nice signings. And then obviously we talked about Bratt when that happened. And that was the biggest move that he
Meyer and, getting an asset for Damon Severson and then taking that asset and depending on RFA and Sharon Govich and turning that into Tyler Toffoli, which...
Yeah, he already did his work.
Oh my God. Unreal.
It's so much awesomeness. And then they still have to sign Kevin Baldo if they want to keep him.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through okay. The Islanders, oh my God, the Islanders. You ready to laugh?
God, what the hell were they doing?
Engvall
is whatever the bear was doing in Cocaine Bear.
Engvall and Mayfield both got 7 years. 7. What? For Pierre Engvall, who's a third liner at best, right? And Scott Mayfield, who's usually what, your third pairing left guy? Maybe second? Second.
He's a fine defenseman. I don't dislike Scott Mayfield.
Right.
There's no doubt about it on his last deal that Scott Mayfield was underpaid for what he did.
Yes.
But I'd like to remind people one very, very simple fact about Scott Mayfield.
Yes.
He's 30.
Yes.
He's 30 and he plays a more physical game.
It's not going to look good.
He's not really a talented player.
Right.
Like skill.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to age so poorly.
Pierre Engvall's interesting to me because, like I said, he's probably a third liner at best. He does have a bit of a shot. He's got a lot of speed to his game. He kills penalties. But,
here's the way to describe Pierre. Okay.
Giraffe.
He is. I remember I went to a game with my buddy Aiden earlier this year, and this is a baseball game. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a Yankees fan. He came down, and one of the players that the Yankees had that night was Franchi Cordero.
Oh yes, I like this kid.
Bigger outfielder who he's got some speed and some power and whatnot, and he played for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And Aiden's brother's a Red Sox fan, and I asked Aiden what's the deal with Franchi Cordero? Is he playing well for the Yankees? Like, what are their expectations, stuff like that? Because this is only 2 weeks into the season, and he goes, "Here's what my brother said."
Oh no, wait, wasn't this guy the one that just got suspended?
No, different player.
Oh, different one. Okay.
No, the other one was a pitcher.
Got you. Okay.
He said, "You are going to love the idea of Franchi Cordero. You are going to love the idea
of Pierre Engvall."
Because you look at a big frame with a decent shot who puts up good underlying defensive numbers.
He's very fast.
And then you're going to watch him and wonder why the hell he isn't that effective.
It's like you look at what he is and you look at what he can do well, but you just
he's such a giraffe.
He is a giraffe.
He is, what, 6'6", 6'7"? Have you ever seen him throw a hit?
No, not really.
He's like the softest giant I've ever seen.
Well, you got to remember that like 2/3 of that is also his neck. That's why we call him a giraffe. Look at him.
Right, yeah.
I love him. But I don't love him for 7 years.
Player who he does a little bit of everything well. He's what Steve calls jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes, exactly what he is.
And they gave him 7 years.
Yeah. Varley's coming back, and he's coming back for 4 years, dude.
That's a long-term investment.
That's a long-term investment for a guy that's
you give him 4 years and it drives the price down to 2.9, which 2.9 for Varley is good, but you gave him 4 years.
That's 4 years, yeah. And I get so okay. I understand that Sorokin's the dude, and he's the one that got paid, and boy did he get paid.
And you know what? Credit where credit's due. That contract's a good contract.
It's a great contract.
But
is it like,
why do you need Varlamov?
Just bring up Skarik. Like, is Skarik ready for anything? Do we know?
I don't think he's ready, but you could sign another backup for a year.
Yeah, for 1 year
when he's ready. Or you can sign another backup for 2 years. Hear me out. Here's a third option that is still
signing for years. Remember what we said earlier in the show that this is a presidential term.
Yes,
this is a college,
long time.
This is a bachelor's degree. This is high school. Guys, this is a long time.
It is a long time.
And isn't Varley already 35, 36? He's up there.
He's up there. Yes, he's old.
And then they also got Julien Gauthier, Coolman, and Pinhos.
That is a player who plays the sport of hockey.
Yeah, and then Coolman and Pinhos, so they shored up their depth just fine. Now Skarik is due for a deal too. He'll be cheap because he's not
1 year, $850.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do with Oliver Wahlstrom.
Yeah.
Especially now that Bo Horvat has his big deal.
That's the thing.
The problem is Bo and his contract.
I know that the Horvat deal wasn't this offseason, but it ties into everything that happened this offseason.
It's so...
And the Barzal deal, too.
Barzal.
What a $9 million player.
No, he's not. There are a lot of guys on here that, okay, there are names here for the Islanders that they could keep if they wanted to, but they can't with the cap that they have. Cole Bardreau, they re-signed Pierre Engvall to this crazy thing. Kubiak, Mayfield, who got re-signed, Richard Panik, who's probably unfortunately done. I love Richard Panik.
Yeah.
Parise, I wonder if he sticks around for another year.
Back. 1 more year for him.
1 more year. Corey Schneider, I think, is done. I feel bad for Corey Schneider. He deserved better. And then Varley, who got 4 years. 4 years. You don't need to do that. Lou, I get that you're 80 years old and you're probably going to be dead before all of these contracts are.
Jesus. You're gonna die. Jesus,
dude, he's gonna I can see him dying in his office.
4 years is a long time, but still.
Lou Lamoriello is just he's a cockroach. He's gonna die in office. He is that's what I see. That's my
No, he's not gonna die. Cockroaches don't die. He's he's the Keith Richards of the NHL.
Hey, we can go along with an episode like this. We can just say wicked unhinged shit. Rangers, Blake Wheeler for a year.
Blake Wheeler for a year.
Blake Wheeler gets 1 year. That's fine.
He's old and slow and doesn't play defense. He's a perfect fit for the Rangers.
Yeah, that's fine. Jonathan Quick is going to be the new play 10 games backup.
Oh, he's old and he's slow and he doesn't play defense. So he's a perfect.
He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't play defense. He kind of plays something a little more important.
That is a fact. He does not play defense.
He plays something a little bit more important than that, don't you think? But nice. They got their new whoever. Because really, when you're backing up Igor Shesterkin, it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You're just, you know what I mean? He did get his name on the cup though, which is nice. Got his name in. It was like Robin Lehner didn't, because we don't know what the hell. No, 4 goalies on the cup, and Robert Lehner is not one of them.
Damn, it's cold.
I don't know why. It's like that's.
I think it just might be like since he didn't play a game this year.
Maybe it's a whole can of worms with him though. It's a can of snakes. What am I saying? Some big worms. Wheeler, Quick, Belzile, 2 years. Kind of nice depth move there with Belzile. Pitlick as well. Riley Nash.
Now he is old and slow, but he only plays defense.
Right. I wonder if he'll wear 61 now. Fuse the hell out of everybody.
That would be kind of funny.
That would be funny.
It would be kind of funny.
Riley Nash.
We have an R Nash who wears 61.
Yeah. That's another former Blue Jacket in Riley Nash as well. Kind of nice. Nick Bonino for a year. Bonino going to New York.
He's old, he's slow, and doesn't play much defense. It's a perfect fit for the
couple other RFAs, and then they got Mac Hollowell as well. Kind of fun. The guys that they have coming up that are interesting, Lafreniere and Keandre are coming up soon. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm gonna bridge both of those guys.
I mean,
they should trade Lafreniere. They
oh
should.
Boy. It's so weird. And they're gonna look very different because Carpenter's gone, Halak's gone, Kane. I don't know what Patrick Kane's gonna do.
Oh, Kane's gonna recover, and then he's gonna sign with the Rangers again, is my belief. And I love that move for the Rangers because he's old and slow and doesn't play.
He doesn't play defense. I think we know the MO of the team this year. Nico Mikkola, who went to Florida. Tyler Mott, please. CJ Smith and Vlad Tarasenko. Tarasenko reportedly is supposed to be going to Carolina, but
he's supposed to go to Carolina, but that's going to fall through. He's going to go to Ottawa.
He changed his agents in the middle of this whole thing.
Now that the DeBrincat deal is done, he's going to be a Senator.
Kalinuk's gone as well, and Lockwood is gone, and Hayek's an interesting name out of that too. Like, I hope
he sucks. He is very bad.
He's a league min kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ottawa. Brandstrom re-ups for a year. Corpusalo getting our boy cashing in for 5.
He got paid. Their goalie tandem are now 2 former Blue Jacket draft picks who were not picked by the current regime.
Yeah, kind of a fun fact there. A little both of them are Housen guys.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now it's Corpy and Forsberg, and Corpy finally is going to get a chance to get the lion's share of starts.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a starter somewhere. He's got it now.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for him. I'll definitely be cheering him on.
Yeah, no doubt.
Chartier, Curry, Boko and Mama, Highmore, Pilon, they all got a year.
Those are AHL players.
Good AHL players. Travis Hamonic, another 2-year deal. Okay.
So I read up on this. I was wondering, why the fuck did they give him a trade, like a no trade clause?
Right.
Turns out, his daughter is sick, and
yes, I
being
heard about
able
this.
to stay in the same location and not have to worry about any of that stuff was hugely important to his family. So they keep a very respected veteran presence around. Mm-hmm. And very, very cool of them to give him the no move clause so he can stay in the same place.
Yeah, and like when it comes to these older players, they want stability, they want to stay somewhere, right? Johnny Gaudreau coming to Columbus to start a family for 7 years. When you have this, you really do need to take these like personal matters into consideration with these clauses.
I mean, yeah, that is like the
Like,
whole reason. Like, I think sometimes when we look at signings, we sometimes forget that these are people with
yes,
lives.
yeah,
That's why people freaked out when Johnny Gaudreau signed with Columbus. Like, why are you going to the Blue Jackets? And it's like, well, the Blue Jackets are not the team he's playing for, but his move is Columbus. His
yes,
move, family going to Columbus to a location that he feels comfortable starting a family with. Like,
yes,
we lose perspective on that sometimes.
absolutely. And then they got Zach McEwen to shore up their fourth line depth, but 3 years
Yeah,
for Zach.
3 years. What the hell?
Oof. Oh boy. And then they re-signed Brandstrom. Mandalese is up, and Sokolov is up in terms of their big RFAs.
Ugh. Okay.
And then so pretty much Oh, that was Julian Gauthier. Okay, I was trying to, and then Philly. They get Paling, they get Gardner, they get Garnet Hathaway on 2 years. Kind of nice. Totally fits the Philly
That's a
mold.
flyer right there.
That is a flyer.
Yeah.
Mark Stahl is going for a year. Okay. All right.
You have their pro overall replacement.
Yeah. Mete got a contract as well, and it's hard. So they both get some depth signings there. And then the ones that broke today, Cates and York, 2 years. Couple nice bridge deals
Those are
there.
2 good deals. I like those 2 players a lot. So
Oh yeah. So Noah Cates, Cam York, really good deals with them. They still have to go for Frost and Lixell. In terms of their big RFAs. And then Jackson Cates, I think, went ahead and signed somewhere else.
Nice.
Just Justin Braun retired. Grosnick left. Lemieux is gone. We don't know where he's gonna. He could resign. I don't know. Lemieux fits that mold, right?
They got Hathaway.
Yeah, you don't really need.
They're trading Tony DeAngelo.
Right. Back to Carolina. Going to Pittsburgh, and Kyle made a lot of moves, bro. He made a lot of Pittsburgh moves.
What former Leafs did he get?
Nola Chari as one.
Andreas Janssen.
3 years for Nola Chari. I like it.
That's a good deal.
Good deal. This one I don't like as much. Graves. 6.
6 years.
6 years of Ryan Graves.
That's a lot of years.
That is wow. Okay. Oh wow. Tristan Jarry, he's the guy. 5.
Yeah. Concerns about health for him. His playoff numbers haven't been very good either. But you think about it, a 5-year deal worth what, 5.3 is pretty good for a goalie in the NHL these days.
Yeah.
Especially one who has had a pretty good track record of success when healthy. Mm-hmm. So big thing is just stay healthy for Tristan Jarry. I think he's good. So I don't mind it.
Nice deal. Matt Nieto going to Pittsburgh on 2 years. Did you read this story too, right? The reason why he wears 81?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Did he go to the Penguins?
He's with Pittsburgh.
He signed with about 5 different teams.
So this is from the app, and it's officially with Pittsburgh.
No, I believe you. I just remember seeing like he signed with this team. No, he signed with this team. No, he signed with this team. I'm just gonna stop following, and whatever team I see him in a jersey for next, that's who he signed with.
I do like his story of why he wears the number.
No doubt.
Mitch. It's because of his younger sister, right?
Yes.
And she was autistic? Or Downs, one of those.
Yeah. I believe she has Down syndrome.
Right. And one of the only things that she really could learn to say was Matt in 83.
Yeah.
So that's why he's never changed the number.
Never changed his number. That's cool. It's a really sweet story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's an easy number to have available too. So that helps.
Yeah. Like, not a lot of 83s in the NHL when you think about it.
Yeah. Ned, Alex Nedeljkovic for a year. Is he going to back up Jari? Because they still have DeSmith.
Depth. I mean, I think it's much needed depth because when you think about the health concerns of both Jari and DeSmith.
Yeah, you're going to need.
You're going to see Ned games this year for the Penguins.
Lars Eller, 2 years. Interesting little depth move there.
Yeah, I like the player. A little rich for my liking at this point in his career, but that's not like a gigantic overpay or anything like that. So, is what it is.
Zahorna and Hellberg 1 year, Butcher a year, Hinostroza a year, and Andreas Johnson a year. So a lot of 1 years for Kyle in Pittsburgh in his first set of stuff. They still have to sign all of their Group 2 guys if they want to. Gruden, Hollander, Drew O'Connor, Ty Smith. But yeah, they don't have everybody that they want is signed, which is good. San Jose, they get Blackwood after the trade. He actually did sign a contract, 2 years. My boy Ryan Carpenter going over for a year, coming back to the Sharks.
Philip Zadina signed there today.
He did, yes. So they bought him out, right?
It was a mutual contract.
Or it was a mutual termination. Or
so rather than the Red Wings just saying we're done with you, both parties come together, so there's no penalty.
Right. Let's just go ahead. We'll change the scenery. We're gonna. All right.
Yeah, and good for this player. He's gonna get his time. He's gonna get chances to play with the Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
He put up decent numbers in a fourth line role last year. I have to love the mentality of the player and the confidence of the player to say, I'm willing to do this and get a fresh start because I believe in myself. So I'm rooting for the kid, but haven't seen a ton from him to really think he's going to be anything special, despite being a former 6th overall pick. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you can make this move to San Jose and figure out how to be a middle 6 player and make a career that way, that's a good thing,
Yeah, we talk about these top 10 guys that don't hit after a while, right?
Yeah.
If you're able to reinvent your game and still make a career out of it, that's still like, okay, maybe you're not top 10 pick X, but you're still able to make a nice career out of.
If you're able to make a career, out of in the National Hockey League for a long time, no matter what the role is, it's a good thing for your game and it's a good thing for your career. Obviously, it sucks with Red Wings that it won't be with them.
Yeah.
But not every pick in the top 10, pans out. You see several, players who don't pan out every single year in the draft. So
they got Giovanni Smith for 2. They got Kyle Burrows for 3. Scott Sabrin 2 years. Oh, fun. I like that guy. He's a fun AHL fighter.
Right now.
A lot of fun names, right? Fabian Zetterlund 2 years. Gawanke 1 and Todd 1. So some more like Barracuda names there. They still got Kaut as well if they want to re-sign him. And then there's like Gadjevich, Gregor, Evgeny Svechnikov. He could go to Carolina and play with his brother. Shit. I would love that. Seattle, Dumo, 2 years. So Brian Dumoulin heading out west. Yamamoto, the hometown boy, 1 year.
Love that.
Love it. Carrick for a year. Belmar for a year, shoring up that fourth line. I like that a lot.
I like all these signings.
Yeah, they're really fun. Borgen too. I love that.
Yeah, Borgen's a good defender.
Cole Lind, more really nice Coachella Valley. for a year, and Cale Fleury as well. So he cleaned up. Like Ron Francis really cleaned up so far.
It is a good offseason. They didn't overspend or anything like that, and they just got solid pieces to shore up a team that was really good last year.
Yeah. And really, if you have that, you just kind of need to stay the course. You fix your pieces and you stay the course.
Yep.
Right? The Blues, McEachern is back for 2 years. Kalanick, Malcolm Subban, they each got 1. Just in terms of names. They don't ever really do too much, do they? The Blues, like they don't. The Blues always stay kind of quiet.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of UFAs that they could bring back. Like Ferk. I love Martin Ferk just for name alone.
Ferk, he's got a hard shot.
He
doesn't do anything else, but he shoots the puck hard.
Ferk bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Noted Alan Walsh client as well. Josh Levo is another name that they could keep around. I like Josh Levo. Tyler Pitlick, who went to the Rangers. Santini, who went to the Kings. Nathan Todd. Witkowski. They don't have any UFAs. Really? Yeah, they don't. They didn't really need to do anything.
No.
It was weird. Tampa gets Sherry for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Good plug and play guy in Sherry. I love his game.
Well, that's a good Killorn replacement.
Yeah. Josh Archibald for 2. Luke Glendening for 2. I like that. That's your Belmar replacement, right?
Mm-hmm. The one I really like was on the back end.
Johansson, Logan Brown, Chaffee, and Calvin DeHaan for a year.
Calvin DeHaan. I love that move.
Love that. Calvin DeHaan, great defenseman.
Super cheap Ian Cole replacement.
Yeah, yeah. They still have to get Jeannot signed if they want to keep him, though. And they paid a lot to get him, so...
Yeah, they'll keep him.
It's like, yeesh.
They'll give him the Miles Wood contract.
Oh, boy. Brian Elliott's gone. Who's going to be the, whoever for Vasi as backup this year? I don't know if it matters. But at least get a guy that can play NHL games, probably.
They could just go to Hugo Alnefelt.
Is Alnefelt ready?
Probably not.
But then again, you're probably...
The question is, does it matter?
I don't know if it matters because Vasi's going to play like 65, 70 games.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
Lagaste's gone. Killorn's gone. Brian Elliott's gone. Do you think Elliott retires? Or do you think he tries to stick it out one more time?
If he decides to keep playing, he'll go back to Tampa for 1 year. If he doesn't go back to Tampa, he's retiring.
Jamel Smith is gone. Walcott's gone. And their UFAs are Rudolph Spalsers, Grant Mismash. I love these names, dude.
Grant Mismash, UND legend.
Leafs, Tree Living. The summer of Tree has been a crazy one.
Not as crazy as last year's.
Oh boy. Ryan Reeves for 3 years, dude. He's 36. I know we know what he's gonna do, but like, wow. We know what he's gonna do, but like, holy shit, man. At least he can still skate, I guess, even though that's all he's gonna do. He's barely gonna skate. Don't look at me like that.
I am looking at you like that.
Well, we know what he's there to do. He's there to protect the young guys and try to teach them how to protect themselves, hopefully. Right? He's
and
actually...
surely it'll take him 3 years to do it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hopefully that does actually bring more like physical punch to when they go into the playoffs because like, they didn't do anything. They started to for like a game or two against Florida, and then really there wasn't anything after that. They got out bullied.
Well, getting out goal is one thing, but I don't really think that Ryan Reeves fixes the out goalie issue.
I said bully, not goalie.
Oh, I thought you said out goalie. I was
No.
like, what does getting goalied have to do with Ryan Reeves? This
They
makes
got out. They got out bullied.
What do you mean out bullied? Don't you just mean bullied?
Well, because like that's what I'm saying. They
I feel
started
like
to.
you had to put the word out in front of bullied.
Well, because they started to do it and then they didn't in the Florida series. They did it for like a game. So really to have the bully on your team, because like sure, there are guys that'll go, yeah, your Cassians and whatever. But to have the heavyweight champion on your team, I think you're gonna be fine. People aren't gonna want to step
Well,
in
everybody skates around him and starts filling
right.
the back of your net.
Right. Klinger, 1 year prove it deal.
I hate this deal so
Klingberg.
much. I hate this deal.
You hate it?
Yes. It is so much money for him.
I guess, but I mean, like
$4.1 million. He is awful defensively.
yeah, but I don't think they're paying him for playing defense.
No, you're not paying him for playing defense, obviously, but he's still a defenseman.
Right.
Like, what is the role you're putting him? Like, you sign John Klingberg.
Mm-hmm.
What is your role for Liljegren?
Right. Yeah. Because that just makes me think.
You have someone who also can create offensively from the back end who doesn't suck ass defensively, who is much cheaper.
Brody, Lily, Klingberg. And then on the left, you could do Brody. There's McCabe. There's
You already
Gio.
have Morgan Riley. Like,
yeah.
you literally already have this defenseman. Why did you need him?
You don't. Yeah. I don't know. Akhtiamov, Lagesson, Lajoie, Rafai, they got some nice Marley's depth there with that. I like the Gambrell deal for the depth as well, but getting Bertuzzi and Domi, these are deals that I really like.
It was about damn time that they got Max Domi, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Max coming home. Dude, this is going to be so much fun with Tide everywhere.
I'm curious about Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm a little curious as to why he left Boston, but like, okay, but here's the thing that frustrates me, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck did you need Ryan Reeves if you were just gonna go out and get Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi anyway?
I don't know. I don't know. It's very strange.
It is like so strange. He's useless now. He's not even 1 game into his contract and he's already been rendered useless.
Yeah, I see it. I can see it. Because like Bertuzzi's going to be Michael Bunting 2.0, just better.
Yes, absolutely.
Like we know that that's Bertuzzi's role.
Hell, I think Max Domi can be just perfect, but better.
Yeah, and Domi can play.
Bertuzzi can just be Bertuzzi.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also, another guy that they have on the wings who does a similar thing is Matthew Nyes.
Yes, they'll have Nyes full time now. So
I ask again, Ryan Reeves.
Tree had a guy that he wanted and he got him. I don't know. It's just like, it's weird. Durar Gachintsev and Sammy. Sammy still needs a contract. I know today we're not going to get into it, but the ARB dates did come out. Sammy needs a contract. Hopefully they'll get that done sooner rather than later.
Did they buy out Matt Murray?
Do they?
Did they?
They haven't.
Yeah, interesting. That's another weird decision.
Crawl is a UFA. He can go somewhere.
Did they get another goalie? Or is it just those two?
Right now, it's just like Sammy needs signed, but Wall has his contract. Murray's still there.
So I think they're just going to roll with Wall and Samsonov.
But again, it's like,
does see Matt Murray put on Robida Island?
Does Samsonov just take the remaining cap space? Like, Because right now they're like over. They're like right over. They're as over the cap as you can be in the summer, I think.
What are they doing?
Because they need Willie re-signed soon too, and Austin's gonna get done supposedly.
What a disaster already.
It's so. What do they? Yeah, I really don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how they're going to do this because.
Oh man, we're gonna see some hilarious cap shenanigans from this team.
Yeah, you can't trade Johnny T. You won't.
I could totally see them signing Samson up to like a 1-year deal worth $475, and then putting Matt Murray on LTIR,
just shelving Matt.
Just
yeah,
fully covers the contract.
Jeez. Vancouver made some fun ones too. Getting into these guys.
What did they do besides buying out OEL?
They bought out OEL. They got our dude from our particular city in a particular country that we love.
Oh yeah, they got Teddy Bluger.
He's gonna. I don't know. I think he's from some place called Riga, Latvia.
Oh yes, you are correct.
Getting Cole is okay-ish.
Who did they get?
Ian Cole.
Ian Cole. Okay, yeah, Ian Cole will definitely fill the hole that Oliver Ekman-Larsson didn't fill.
And you heard about the story with Cole, right? Like the jersey number thing.
Yeah, and then he swapped his jersey.
And then he swapped it to 82.
I didn't realize that was the jersey that he wore.
It was 28.
Yeah, I like totally understandable that mistake would be made.
Well, this brings up a conversation.
All he needed was one person in the organization to bring that to his attention.
Yeah, and
like not like you don't have to beat it. Like, don't wear that jersey. This is why you don't wear that jersey. Just be like, hey, just to let you know, like
we have reasons why you probably shouldn't wear this.
Yeah.
That just brings up the conversation I had the other day with having players in your organization like that and honoring numbers and retired numbers, unofficial retired numbers that you just pull out of circulation.
Yeah.
Things like that with Vladimir Konstantinov, Matisse Kivleniks, with this prospect. I can't remember. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head. Luke Bourdon. Okay, yes. With Bourdon, with Kivleniks, with Konstantinov, with people that like you just know you don't wear that number anymore.
Yeah. I just think like if you're gonna
weird.
Like, I hate the unofficial retirement of a jersey number. If you're gonna retire it, just retire it. If you're gonna honor it, just honor it, you know?
Right.
Because if we're just gonna get backlash to players for, you know, something they're not even aware of, like why is it even an option to begin with?
Well, I feel like that's
just. I mean?
Does that not speak to just the Canucks organization right now?
Yes, it speaks exactly to the Canucks organization.
To not even have one guy just be like, hey.
All he needed was one person to be like, hey, you know, like, nobody wears that jersey number for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
One person.
Jeez. But swapping it's fine. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that. Cool.
Yeah. Carson Soucy, 3 years. I like that deal for Soucy.
I do like that deal. I like Carson Soucy a lot. So
Irwin. Is that Matt Irwin?
That's gotta be Matt Irwin.
That is Matt Irwin. Oh my god.
That is depth at its finest. That is a body who can play NHL games.
Well, he got a 2 years or 2 ways, so it's like okay.
Oh, I thought okay, glad it
a two way.
I swore to God, if you said 2 years, I was gonna break.
Well, you know, that's funny because I was looking at Hogs with that. Because Sawchenko got the 2-way as well. So they're shoring up the Abbotsford depth there. And then Niels Hoglander getting a 2-year. I like it.
Yeah, I like that deal. 1.1 million is not bad.
I like it. And then they still have Kravtsov if they want to keep him. But didn't he say he wanted to go back to Russia? Like,
he's probably gonna go back to Russia. I think the North American experiment's over for him.
Yeah. They still have Ferland somehow.
Well, yeah, because that's his dead cap hit. He's never playing again. So.
Oh, it's dead cap. Okay.
Like that's LTIR.
Got it. Kyle Burrows is gone. Colin Delia is gone. Yada yada. And then their UFAs: Ethan Bear, Travis Dermott, and Carson Focht.
Interesting. I'm surprised nobody's picked up either one of Ethan Bear, Travis Dermott.
Yeah, I love those guys, and they're really. Hey, everybody! So I'm just. I'm so sorry. Jay's laptop died. So we went so long. I thought we were just going to rapid fire the free agents, but so much for that. We'll see you next time we see you. And I'm very, very sorry. Jay's laptop just we went so long that it died, and Mubby. So for those of you that stuck it out this long, thank you.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by Jay Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.